Greetings and welcome to the ROI Clear podcast. My name is Ray Hightower, and today we are fortunate to have as our guest Ms. Catherine Bell. Catherine is president of Titan Impact Group and Bell Community Empowerment Foundation. She is an entrepreneur and a problem solver. Catherine is known for collapsing timelines and adding commas to bank accounts. ROI Clear listeners and viewers, please join us in welcoming Ms. Catherine Bell. Welcome, Catherine.
Thank you, Ray. Super excited to be here with you. I just love our conversation.
Yes.
Camera off. I feel like we could talk days and days and never run out of things to talk about.
Absolutely. I could keep asking you questions all across the board. So yeah, I agree with that. So very glad to have you here. You know, to kick things off, just to give our audience an idea of who you are and what you do, could you give us an elevator pitch? And for those who are new to ROI Clear, Catherine Bell is on an elevator with someone she wants to influence. So Catherine, we're going to ask you, what would you say to that person in the course of an elevator ride?
So for my company, what we do is we're a real estate investment company. And at the end of the day, we just love to be the bank and rent dirt. And that's what we do with our investors. We collapse timelines on the projects that we are working with through really efficient systems. And we add commas to bank accounts, lots of commas. And the whole reason is because we leave every person, property, and community better than we found them. Because my fundamental belief is that money is like oxygen. The more you have, the easier it is to breathe. And the more you have, the easier you can breathe, the bigger the difference in the world you can make. And that's what I'm out to do, is to add so many commas to as many people's bank accounts as possible, so that whatever that thing is that they are called here to do, that difference that they're called here to make, that they now have the freedom and the ability to really make that impact in the world that they're here to make.
Wow. That's inspiring. That's very inspiring. By adding commas to bank accounts, you're putting people in a position where they can have more of an impact in the areas of life where they want to have an impact.
Yes.
Excellent. Now tell us a little bit, how did you come to have this philosophy, this driving philosophy that you have right now? I know you've done some wonderful things with foster care and adoption, and now you're adding commas to bank accounts, but please tell us the story of Catherine Bell.
So I'm Canadian.
All right.
and American. I've got dual citizenship. So I grew up in Canada, was born to a teenage mother, was in and out of more homes than you can count, went to 13 different schools, didn't actually learn to read till I was in the 8th grade, because going through so many schools, it just slipped through the cracks.
Mm-hmm.
But I always managed to get straight A's because I figured out, if you could understand and figure out what the answer is that they wanted, then you would always get it right. So I always listened for the answer, right? And always nailed it. So if you understand that, and it's how it is in life as well, in business with your spouse, like if you just listen to what that answer is that they're looking for, you're able to speak directly to that. So that's a superpower that I ended up developing, which is why, I share that. So fast forward, I ended up getting adopted when I was 16, and that changed the course of my life forever. The trajectory of my life, the probable predictable future, was not a good one at all. And so getting adopted when I was 16, I am forever grateful to my parents that adopted me. Went on to be able to graduate high school, went to college, and eventually I traveled the world. And that's when I met my husband, and who was American. That's how I ended up in the US. We got married back in 2001. And him and I were doing a ton of philanthropic work and volunteering. That's how we actually met. Our heart is to make that difference. And so it's what we did. He had a dream, a vision, and I took that vision and we turned it into a multi-million-dollar company. because I put in systems and structures and had things be really run really efficient. It just happens to be one of my superpowers that I am a nerd at heart.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, I love my spreadsheets, my numbers, like system structures, efficiency. I love that, and making companies be really, really profitable. So we were living the American dream, decided we want to have children, and discovered that I couldn't actually have children. And so we, went through all the in vitro and stuff. That didn't work. Long story short, we ended up learning about this program called Foster Adopt. And it's children in the foster care system that, because of the choices of the birth parents, the parental rights have been severed, which means that these children would stay in foster care until they age out at 18. So fast forward, I ended up adopting my twins, baby boy and baby girl, when they were 4 months old.
Yes.
So I got them. Now they're 18. So that's
Wow.
18 years ago.
Oh.
And we, through a series of events, ended up from California, Washington, now here in Arizona. And then back in, so my husband ended up getting really, really sick. I was a stay-at-home mom. I was super excited to get my babies and was super excited to be the one raising them. But he ended up getting sick, which forced me to actually have to go to work and provide for our family, which was heartbreaking, because I feel like my dream got stole from me. But if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. So went and took a couple companies. I took one company from they were sitting at 2 million, took them to 13 million in 3 years. Then I went on to another.
That's revenue, 2 million a year in revenue to 13 million a year in revenue. Correct. In 3 years, you did that.
Correct.
Fantastic. Okay. Yes.
And then another company, we did. They were at 250,000. I took them to over 20 million. In 3 years. So it's just, again, I'm a nerd. It's what I love. It's just fun. And in that time, I ended up, through my whole real estate investing career, which is what I like to share with people, is and give people permission to try on different asset classes until they find the one that works for them. Like I did buy and hold, discovered I don't like tenants and toilets.
Yeah. All right.
Went on and ran a flipping females program. And we flipped about 500 houses, which was a lot of fun. It's a lot of work. I like all those moving parts, but it only works in certain parts of the economy because the economy is cyclical, right?
Yes.
So do the numbers tell you what to do. So it worked when the numbers worked. Started my own hedge fund. And because I learned that out of all the things you can do in real estate, you can be the buyer, the seller, the realtor, contractor, subcontractor, bank, all that. But the most secure position to be is the bank. The bank always wins. Think about Monopoly.
Yes.
Bank always wins, right? So, I started my own hedge fund.
Yes.
And we had a whole, vacation rental portfolio, all of that. And then it was back in 2018, my husband died unexpectedly and very tragically. And I had to take over running all the vacation rentals. And it turns out I don't like gas and toilets either. So again, that's my personality. Yeah. And so I shut that whole thing down, sold off all the assets, and just got really, really focused on what I love to do, which is be the bank. So we buy and sell notes off of Wall Street with our investors. And then we rent dirt, which is through mobile home parks. Totally love that. Renting dirt's the best. Okay. And then we have medical offices with another division of our company that helps doctors actually be able, through a lease program, be able to open up 6 to 10 locations a year. So especially with what's happening, the pressure that baby boomers are putting on the medical care system, we're really helping not only affordable housing and, tiny home communities for seniors, but also helping them get the medical care that they need, and the quality that they want by, helping these doctors take care of this piece so doctors can just be really great doctors. So lots of pieces. And then of course I've got my, my nonprofit, which everything leads into. Yes. So I'll circle back around with that, which is, again, I said money is like oxygen. The more you have, the easier it is to breathe. And the more you have, the easier you can breathe, the bigger the difference in the world you can make. So why am I doing all this? What is the point of all the, what appears to other people to be craziness? To me, it's just fun.
Yes.
Is that with the FOST Adopt program, what I discovered is that there's over 500,000 children in the U.S. foster care system. 350,000 are available for adoption today. It costs less than $1,000 to adopt a child. And they come with a whole world of services because they're coming out of the foster care system.
Right.
So, it's like, okay, what happens if these children don't get adopted? What happens is they experience on their 18th birthday, they experience what's called Black Trash Bag Day. And that's the day where on their 18th birthday, they're handed a black trash bag and told to pack up all their stuff, and they're out. They're out. The foster care is done. They're out. The resources are done. So statistically, if we look at what's happening overall, like to keep these kids in the foster care system, it's costing taxpayers billions of dollars inside of a very broken system. We all can that. Necessary, broken. Then on the back end, when these children age out of foster care at 18 and have no home base, nowhere to go to, then statistically they end up on drugs, prostitution, incarcerated, and human trafficking. Then what do? It costs taxpayers billions more. So my nonprofit, here's the solution. This is what I believe. If there are other solutions, yes. This is the one that was placed on my heart.
Yes.
Is because I kept asking, why isn't somebody doing something about this? Why isn't somebody? And I realized it was me.
Yes.
I'm the somebody. This question is placed on my heart because I'm the somebody. Right. So when I started telling the truth about, oh my gosh, I went through this as a kid. Oh my gosh, I was adopted. Oh my gosh, I adopted my twins out of foster care. Like, there's no mistakes that all those things happened in my life to lead me to this. And so there's more than 350,000 congregations in this country. So my game plan, whatever, is to work with every single congregation, because if each congregation takes on finding one family, just one family to adopt one child, we could get this done in my lifetime. But what's even more extraordinary is what if 1% of those kids got as inspired as I got by being adopted at 16 and decided to go make a difference in the world? That would be 3,500 kids that grow up to be adults that go out to make an extraordinary difference in the world because one family said, I choose you. I choose you.
Right. Wow.
And that is why we need more commas in bank accounts.
Right.
So people are like, oh my gosh, how can I help? So obviously you can donate.
Yes.
You can reach out to your congregation and share with them about this. There are adoption agencies that specialize in this type of adoption. Work with them to get that program going in your church. My nonprofit, if they need money to help get the program going, reach out. That's what we do, to help the adoption agency and the churches be able to collaborate and find the families. And then anybody that has adopted children out of the foster care system or been adopted out of the foster care system, we want to interview you so you can share your story. Because like mine, it matters.
Sure.
And it matters to these 350,000 children that did not ask to be there.
Right.
But we can make a difference.
Catherine, every time I hear you tell this story, I'm moved by it. And there are all kinds of questions. First of all, the foster system that you were in, was the Canadian system, or
Correct.
Okay. And is there some connectivity or some similarity between what's happening in Canada versus the US? All right, there is. So this forgive me, there's so much I don't know about this, but are are kids flowing between them, or they're just the systems are similar because the countries are so close to each other?
Two very different countries, very different. Yeah. It's a completely closed, separate systems.
Yeah, yeah.
Which is why, because I'm in the U.S., we focus on the U.S. foster care system.
Okay.
Now, you know, we could get this all done in my lifetime here. We could go to Canada. We can do it there as well.
Right.
But in the right now, this is where I happen to be.
And if 1% of those kids, as you said, you talk about geometric, you know, what do they call that? Compounding. If that's going on, if compounding is going on, then the kids who are blessed by your work here, they become adults and do this in other countries, you know, then Canada and then Mexico, and then we spread out, you know, other countries that share borders or however, just do this worldwide, because we are each other's keepers.
Right?
We are absolutely each other's keepers. And if you're adding commas to bank accounts, my goodness, what a motivator for people to add commas to bank accounts. You know,
well, here's my battle cry. Like, see all my gladiators up there? So our whole thing is we're the sentinels of the American dream, right?
Yes.
We leave every person, property, and community better than we found them. So here's my battle cry. It's that, listen, like, if you have been given the gift and the opportunity to make money, then you must make as much money as you possibly can so that you can make the biggest impact in the world that you can. And if you think that money doesn't make a difference, you clearly haven't given enough away. So we can give our time, talents, and money away, you know, but all these nonprofits, absolutely, they need those donations made so that they can continue to go make a difference. That is their genius inside of the difference that they make. If your genius is making money, then do it, and do it really big and really well, so that now you can tell those dollars where to go make that difference that has been placed on your heart. You don't have to start a nonprofit. There's so many out there that you absolutely could support, right? But every dollar absolutely makes a difference. So anybody that's listening to this, to you, to us, is clearly they're an investor or want to be an investor. They have that on their heart. They have that ability. They have that gift. So they must go and do it and be extraordinarily successful at it so that they can make a bigger impact in the world. Right?
Yes.
That's my gladiator battle cry.
There it is. And I see your gladiators there on the top of your bookshelf. I see the basketball there. Basketball is also a gladiatorial sport. I mean, sports in general are essentially warfare and gladiatorial, and that's where we learn discipline and character. And then, of course, my goodness, that is inspiring. And as you said, if you have been given the gift to make money, you must make as much as money as you can so you can have an impact on the world. And those who do not believe that money makes a difference have not given enough of it away.
Yep.
Yeah. So much
unapologetically. I feel like a lot of people apologize for making money. It's like, stop doing that.
Right.
Everybody has their genius. Everybody has their role that they need to play in society. So if that happens to be your role, then own it and win.
Right.
And then go make a difference. Stop apologizing for your success.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Be an extraordinary human being that goes and absolutely crushes it. And now you have the ability on another level to make a difference. So you must. We all must.
You know, apologizing for success, that's kind of like hiding your lamp under a bushel, right? Or that's like taking your talent, you know, the parable of the talents, taking that talent and burying it in the ground, hoping nothing happens to it. But you're saying if you have these talents, go and invest them, like the one with the 5 talents or the one with the 10 talents, but don't bury it in the ground like the one with the 1 talent. So we've got to do that. So much to ask you about right here. Let's go back like a few minutes ago. You just rolled here, and I'm just okay. This is why we have such great conversations. Let's go back to where you talked about how there was one company you took them from 2 million to 13 million, another one you took them from 250,000 to 20 million. What is your secret sauce? Is it the systems you put in place? Is it the problems you identify? Is it your method for finding talent? Is it your method for inspiring and motivating talent? How are you able to go into a company that's making 2 million and turn it to 13 million, or one that's making 250,000 and turn them into 20 million? What is it that Catherine Bell is doing to create these multipliers here?
So there's three types of entrepreneurs.
Yes.
And this feeds into it. So the three basic types of entrepreneurs are an entrepreneur who's like a skilled like talent, like an artist, like they're really, really good at whatever their craft is that they're doing, right? Those entrepreneurs hold on to companies like they're their baby, and they never have an exit strategy because their baby is them. They're their baby. Like they identify as their company. So there's that type of entrepreneur. The second type of entrepreneur is a type of entrepreneur that really loves to lead and manage people and, you know, do all of that. And I mean, it's self-explanatory. You know, those type of people, they're inspiring. They just really love pouring into people. Right. Then there's the third type of entrepreneur. That's an entrepreneur that just loves to build businesses and like create them, build them, and then whatever the exit strategy is, you know, on the other end, and do it again and again and again. So I'm sure you can guess which one I am.
Yes, I can see that.
So
yes.
I'm not an artist. I mean, unless building spreadsheets is an art, but again, it's only inside of because I just love to build companies. It's just fun for me. And so I don't lead and manage people, not my genius. So when we understand what our genius is, right? If your genius is your job. If it's not your genius, it's not your job. So stay in your lane and let somebody else do those other things. You need all three on the team. Really, really important that if you are this one, you need to make sure that you have a skilled producer and you have somebody who loves to lead and manage people. You bring those people to the table. Now we can do something. So for me, I go in and I always start with, we do the numbers and the numbers tell us what to do.
Sure.
Right? Until we understand the numbers in a company, like we're flying blind. You know, how many times have we heard people don't plan to fail, they just fail to plan? Well, if you don't know, like you know your numbers and then have a plan for moving forward, you have just planned to fail. Right. So and most business owners are never got themselves educated on how to read the balance sheet, the profit and loss, and the cash flow statement. When you understand how to read those, all of a sudden you get like, oh my gosh, there's a whole story here. And when we can look at that, now it's like, now we can do something, you know, and break down and start doing the little tiny pieces. And when you can make small little adjustments, 1% here, 2% there, all of a sudden your company becomes exponentially more profitable. Right. And then from the profit, now you grow it. So you grow it responsibly and profitably, because being big doesn't mean you're profitable. I mean, look at Enron.
Oh, yeah, there it is.
Right.
Being big just means you're big until you fail.
Exactly. So you want to be profitable, right? And be responsible. So, because again, we can make a bigger difference, right? Right. So by really dialing in the numbers, now we understand, okay, where are the systems and structures that are not in place? What's broken? What do we have to put into place? You know, so it's going to the foundation. Like, what is your vision and your mission? If you don't have a clear vision and mission for your life personally, and then your business, again, you have just planned to fail. Yes. Do the work and get it clear, you know, and I have it wrote out for myself. I have my personal mission and vision. And I go through this exercise. I've done it for decades now. Is we, you know, write it down. And there's 5 areas: mental, emotional, physical, financial, and spiritual. You write out where you want to be in 1, 3, and 5 years in all those areas. Then, and you write it in the form of, I am so happy and grateful that, or better. Right? Because when we give God or the universe the opportunity to give us our, you know, because God and the universe are conspiring to have our heart's deepest desires come true. But if we're not putting it out there, what our heart's desires are, what are we going to do? Right.
Right.
So now we have our vision. Then what I do is I put together a ginormous collage dream board, and it's usually by 3 feet by 4 feet framed. And it literally is hung on my wall. My children do it. All our staff does it. Everybody does it, has their dream board.
Yes.
So that they're seeing it every day. So now your reticular activation system in your brain is going, hey, wait a minute, what? Like it starts to see these opportunities to make this happen. Then bringing in even more senses is that I recorded it. It's recorded on my phone and listen to it every night before I go to sleep, so that while I'm sleeping, all of a sudden now my unconscious mind is working all night long, figuring out ways of things I could do to actually make it happen. Right. So by bringing in all those senses, now I've gotten really responsible of like, okay, this is my roadmap. This is where I want to go. And there's all sorts of studies of extremely successful people, like they all do this. Success leaves clues.
Yes.
If all successful people are doing this, come on, you can do it too. Right. So by doing that, now we do it with a company. Right. So now we have that really clear, clean understanding of what the mission and vision is for the company. Like ours is, we're the sentinels of the American dream, the gladiators.
Yes.
And we leave every person, property, and community better than we found them. My entire team, literally, we start our KPI meetings talking about how they're living that in the world, in their life. Because what does that do? It builds culture. Culture isn't the massages and the coffee, it's like, how is it being lived out?
Right.
What is being lived out every day? Who are we as people? Just not even having to try. It's just a natural expression of who we are. So when you are clear, when the leader is clear about the mission and vision, then you have your culture, and we hire for culture. Do the people that we hire on our team, do they fit our culture? Is it just a natural expression of who they are? Right. And then we create, you have the job descriptions, which are based on actual outcomes versus tasks. So when you have outcome-based job descriptions, now the people feel empowered because they're not being told, how to, or like what they need to do, all those individual tasks. It's like, here's the what. You tell me what talents you're bringing to the table, what your dream is, and how you're going to fulfill on this outcome. Now they're owning it. Right? It's their little company inside of the company.
Yes.
Right? Now they get to be
right people that blows up.
Yeah, and they get to be that contribution.
Can you give us an example of outcomes versus task for our listeners? Like, what would be an example of a task-driven job description versus an outcome-driven job description? And I don't want to take you off track, but I want to make sure that's clear for everyone who's watching and listening. So
a task-driven job description is like, Monday, you answer emails, you open the mail, it's literally that these are all the tasks you need to have completed, like a good little robot.
Yes.
Right. Versus an outcome is like, okay, your job is to, and I'm just for the basics, a receptionist, right?
Yeah.
Like your job is to make sure that everybody is greeted and taken care of in a very efficient, friendly manner that fulfills on, them being left, every person, property, and community being left better than they found them. And what does that look like? You tell me. Is it getting them water, getting them coffee, answering the phone immediately, asking, really, how are you? Like stopping and saying, really, no, how was your weekend? Like so they get to own how that actually gets to be fulfilled on for that piece of the company. Right. And now, and they're responsible for all the tasks that need to happen inside of that being fulfilled on. What is the outcome? But without the mission and vision, how are they to even know what the outcome is?
There it is. It's the job of the leader to make sure that the mission and vision are established and communicated clearly over and over and over again. That's the beginning of culture. And then, as you said, do not try to treat your people. I like that you use the word robot. We're not programming robots. We are inspiring people. So your outcome-based description inspires an intelligent person to say, no matter who comes in here, this is my job. And the example you gave was the reception. This is my job as the receptionist to make them feel welcome and to do it in such a way that I'm leaving the world better than it was when I got here. And oh my goodness, there are so many things they can do based on that description. My goodness, Catherine. There it is. There it is. Yep. Oh my goodness. The people who are on your staff are on fire.
Well, and then the next part comes accountability, right?
Yes. Okay.
When you have weekly accountability, and I'm not talking about long drawn out meetings. No, it's like, again, here is our goal. Here's our mission, our vision, and our company goals. What are the tasks that you're going to do, massively important outcomes that you're going to fulfill on this week to have that be fulfilled on? Yes. And again, it's not the leader of the company saying, you need to do this, you need to do this. It's you have the outcome. You see the mission and vision. How do you see it? Yes. How do you see what you're doing? And what's one thing you can do to forward that? And every single week, I mean, this meeting should fly by. There's no coaching. There's no mentoring. It literally is everybody stating what they're going to do. And then the next week you come back. Did you fulfill on that? Deal with and address whether it did or didn't, and keep moving forward. Yes. And so it becomes really clear, especially in a team, that is your culture a culture that you want people to be self-motivated, to be self-driven, that they're absolutely owning it, but you need to get the hell out of the way. Yeah. Yeah. Right. As a leader, I feel too many leaders meddle.
Yes. Oh, yes. Right? Yes. Yes.
So it's the piece of if it's not your genius, if it's not your job. So if that person's genius is their job, then let them flourish. Right? Like, stop trying to control the hell out of them. Stop doing that. Yeah. Like, let them fly and bring all sorts of ideas to the table. You don't have to take all the ideas, but let it start to flow, and some amazing stuff is going to happen as a result of that. Yes. Right? So now you've got the vision, the mission, your numbers, your which you create your scoreboards from, your KPI meetings that you're going over all this with. Yeah. It's like, okay, you bring those foundations in, all of a sudden you can build amazing things with extraordinary teams of people like that. Because everybody is like rowing, to the same cadence, the same power, the same okay, that is beautiful. Right. So you asked what I bring. There you go.
And you did bring it. Catherine did bring it. You did bring it. Oh my goodness. That is beyond inspiring. And I see why you're building companies and why these companies are growing the way they are. And I just can imagine that your staff is very fired up to do the things that you're all doing together.
They're pretty inspired. Yeah.
This is great. Wonderful. We are coming towards the end of our time together. This is too short. We got to have more conversations. We got to have more conversation. I'm just going to say that. Absolutely. So glad, I'm glad that we see each other through other groups that we're part of and other places where we see each other. And we're both in Arizona. So it's wonderful. Yes. It's a beautiful thing. As we come to the end, you're a reader. I mean, you're a serious reader. And as we come to the end, what book or books? For most people, I'd say just what book, but you, I'll say maybe are there one or two books? She's already turned around and gotten back. You do not let grass grow under your feet. You are like energy in motion. All right. What books would you like to recommend to our listeners and viewers today?
So I want everybody to write this down. I'm dead serious about this. I know a lot of my friends are millionaires, and I have a couple friends who are billionaires. And so I ask a lot of questions because I'm very curious. How did you get here? What was your journey? What did you do? We all want to know, right? Yeah. And what I've learned is that there's common threads and things that they do. So my thought is, oh my gosh, if they all did this, if I did it, then I should get the same, if not similar results, right? It's just a clue, like
Yes, it's a
little
clue.
science experiment.
Yeah,
So
yes.
one of my favorite books, The Science of Getting Rich
Really?
by Wallace D. Wattles. There's a science to it.
Okay.
Here's the homework. Here's how you put this book to work for you.
Okay.
So what you do is you read, it's a teeny tiny little book. So
All right.
you read through it. It takes maybe 2-3 hours. Read through the entire book. And then when you're done, every single day for 90 days, every day, you read chapters 4, 7, 11, and 14. Every day. It'll take you maybe 20 minutes.
All right.
You do that for 90 days. You miss a day, you start all over again.
Mm-hmm.
It's a discipline.
Yes.
And I promise you, at the end of the 90 days, your neuron pathways are going to be changed forever in the most extraordinary way.
All right.
The
That's the
second
homework.
is that I feel like that I absolutely love this book. It's who, not how. I feel like so many entrepreneurs and investors and business owners get caught up in, I don't know how. Like, stop.
Yes.
Stop. This changed my life forever. When I started looking at who being where I go, how can I have them on my team to help us take us to that level? Now I'm literally springboarding forward because they have the how. So I just need to know who.
Right.
Because they bring how.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So these are definitely two of my favorites. I mean, there's so many that I have.
Oh,
but
yeah.
This one for sure. And here's the deal. Like, at the end of the 90 days, I would invite anybody to reach out to me, to reach out to you, and seriously share with us what happened.
Yes.
I would be very curious what happened, and I would love to hear their journey and like what evolved out of it. That would be cool.
I would love to hear that as well. And I appreciate those choices. Oh my goodness. We have homework. Fellow listeners, fellow viewers, we have homework.
There's not a day that goes by that I don't recommend books.
Oh my goodness. This is why I love talking to you, why I love listening to you. This is why I love listening to you. It's not just rah-rah inspiration, but there are clear, actionable steps behind what you're doing. The Science of Getting Rich and the particular chapters that you mentioned, reading over the course of, or reading every day for 90 days and seeing how your neural pathways are rewired. That's powerful.
Yep.
Wow, Catherine. This has been a pleasure. I am so grateful that you decided to join us here at BizDay Global. So grateful to have you here, Catherine Bell. Thank you for being here with us, and thank you for sharing with us your insights. It's been a pleasure speaking with you.
Yes, I love our conversations.
Yes.
So we didn't even get into all the personal development stuff. So we got to do another one on
there's
that.
So much more. That's why we got to have you back. This is only part 1. This is the first page of chapter 1. How about that?
I love it. I
Wonderful.
Can't wait to share this with our entire network. This is going to be awesome. Yes.
Thank you, Catherine. Be well.
Love it. Thank you.